everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. My name is Dr. Iyabo. I'm your money to honey coach. I'm your favorite business, lifestyle, and dating coach. So if you require any form of help or coaching in business, how to be financially free, lifestyle, health and wellness, confidence, public speaking, or in dating and relationships, remember to go to my website, driyabo.com, driyabo.com, or just click the link in the description in this video. If you go to the description in this video, on every single video, my link is on there to go to my website, okay? So welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope that you'll hit the subscribe button now and you'll subscribe, because I have many videos coming up, especially for you, okay? So today we're discussing the age gap in dating and relationships. Does age gap matter in the dating field? Okay, so I'm going to discuss my opinions to you today, what I have learned, along the years in my 10 years of dating when I was divorced, and also all the research I have done and in all the readings I have done. So, and somebody recently asked me this question also. I don't remember if it was in my DM or if I was doing a live and they asked me the question. So I thought, you know what, this is a great topic, because I'm sure there are many women out there who are not sure whether, an age gap that is too wide or not wide enough will be healthy for them. So let's dive in. So is age an issue while dating? The things to consider, right? So if you're wondering what kind of age would be good for you, the things you should consider, right? First of all, your sexual chemistry and your sexual compatibility. That is very important for all of us, right? So that is something you're going to have to consider. Now, I don't think absolute numbers really matter. So let's say you're 30 and you're thinking, is a 45-year-old man too old for me because of the 15-year gap? I don't think absolute numbers matter, but these are the things you have to consider. Rather than looking at the numbers, think about the more practical, tangible, and realistic things you have to consider. So the first thing is your physical chemistry. You've been dating this man, you've probably gone out on a few dates. I'm not talking about the actual action of sex, but physically, how are you guys connected? Do you feel attracted to him physically? Do you feel like you like to hug him and kiss him and hold him? Do you feel like he's somebody you can be physically intimate with? So what is your physical chemistry like? Okay, so sexual compatibility is very important. Now, let's say you're in your 40s or 50s and you're starting to look at, of course, older men. Something you have to consider again is, does he have any chronic illnesses or anything that may prevent him from being sexually compatible with you? So the first thing you do have to consider is sexual chemistry and sexual compatibility. How well are you guys, physically connected? Do you feel good when you're holding him or cuddling next to him? Do you feel good when you're kissing him? How do you feel? Do you have that kind of chemistry going on? So regardless of age, that is something to consider, because if you're 30 years old and you're dating a 60-year-old man, that may create some kind of friction with physical chemistry. It may, because that's just a really big age gap. So first thing you have to consider is, how are you feeling about sexual compatibility and sexual attraction? Okay. Then number 2 is, again, your emotional compatibility. This is very important. Okay. If you're too young for somebody who's older, who is much more emotionally competent than you, has gone through all the wisdom of time and age, and you are still dealing with your emotional, intelligence and how humble you are or how patient you are, and you're dealing with a guy who already is quite good with his emotional intelligence, that may be a problem for you, okay? So, and I find that the wider the age gap, sometimes this does happen. So let's say you're 30 and you're dating a 50-year-old man. There may be some incompatibilities with how you both handle your emotions. I feel like younger women usually, I'm not saying all, usually are still quite more dramatic with their emotions. they haven't really learned how to control their emotions. They're more emotionally dependent, right? So because the older you get, I wasn't as emotionally, competent in my 20s and 30s as I am now. As I am now, I know who I am. I know I'm humble. I know how to manage my emotional intelligence, and I know how to react to some situations or not to react to some situations. But that comes with time. So if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're dating somebody much older than you who already knows about emotional intelligence, and you are still quite dramatic and still quite sensitive and easily hurt and all of that, and you are still learning that, there may be some incompatibility. So again, absolute numbers are not the thing. You have to look at the more, tangible and specific things. So the second thing is emotional compatibility. Are you guys emotionally compatible? Because if you feel like you're still young and you're sensitive and you're needy and you still need this guy to be there for you emotionally, and you feel like he's thinking, what's even going on with her? Why can't she take care of her emotions? Why is she so dramatic? That may be a problem there. So you may want to look for somebody that is closer to your age who will understand you better. So that second point was very, very important, right? Emotional compatibility. Then number 3, how do you see eye to eye with all the other life issues? There's so many life issues. Religion, right? Parenting, politics, friends, communication, hobbies. There's so many life issues. Religion, that explains itself. You're both Christians, but one of you is fine with not going to church every Sunday, but the other one wants to go to church on Sunday, as well as maybe 2 or 3 times during the week to serve or to do things. Or you're a Christian, he's Muslim. How are you? It's not like these combinations are not compatible, but these situations are already quite hard to deal with. If you now combine a big difference in age, it gets even more difficult. So those are the things you have to consider. So, if you're, 20 years younger than a guy, he may not be amenable to change, right? People get more set in their ways the older they get. So you may get somebody who is not flexible on his faith or flexible on going to church or not going to church because he's much older than you. And at this point in his life, he just wants to have peace and be happy. He doesn't want anybody to come and influence him to change his already comfortable life. Or politics. I'm not even going to go into politics. You guys know he's Republican, you're Democrats, you're independent, or you belong to one party in one African country, he belongs to the other party. You guys don't know how to set limitations on not discussing politics too much. You're much younger than him, he's much older. Or even the reverse. I'm talking about the woman being younger. There's also the reverse where women these days are dating younger guys, right? So even the reverse, you may be the more mature one. You may be the one who's older and more mature, and you're dating a guy who's 10 years younger than you. You see how that can be a problem as well. But it's not, again, really the number in age that matters. It is how you're compatible you are with all these things. Another thing is your friends. That's a big issue. If you are 30 years old, he's 50 years old. Paint the picture. Your friends are going to be in their late 20s to like their mid 30s. His friends are going to be like 50, 55, 59, 60. When you get together, if you are in the midst of his friends, are you going to be okay with it? Are they going to look at you as some baby? Are you going to feel left out? Are you going to feel like you can't join into their conversations because you're too young? So these are all the dynamics you have to consider. So you basically have to date this guy, see how you feel about these things. You also have to talk about them, okay? You can't just pretend like it doesn't matter. If the age gap is wide, these are the things you have to also talk about. Are we going to respect each other when we're in the midst of our friends, even though the age gap is wide? Are you going to respect me? Are your friends going to respect me and not call me, like that young wife, or things like that are things you really have to consider. Your hobbies. Are you still in your 20s, 30s, and you can run, 10 miles a day or hike the greatest mountain the person you're dating is in his 50s, is he still willing to do that? Does he still have the, I mean, I'm not saying 50-year-olds can't still run, but you get what I mean. You know, are your hobbies compatible? Okay, even your sleeping habits. It's like, you know, do you like going to bed at midnight, which is bad. Again, nobody should be going to bed at midnight, but do you like going to bed at midnight? And then your 50-year-old husband, would he rather go to bed at 9 p.m.? These are all very important things that can really, really destroy a relationship. So you have to consider these as per how it will align with your age gap. Okay, the next thing is the big one: marriage and kids. This man, if he's much older than you, likelihood that he's been married before and divorced, and he probably has kids already. If you are 30 years old, you probably still want to get married and you still want kids. How are you going to work that out if he doesn't want any more kids because he's 50 years old, you know? Or there's even some 50-year-olds who don't want to get married anymore. So let's even talk about the main fundamental one. You still want marriage, he doesn't. Okay, you still want kids, he doesn't. So marriage and kids is actually a big one that you have to discuss early in the relationship, because the wider the age gap, the problem. Or if you're an older woman who's dating a younger guy most likely has not been married before, he still wants kids. You may be an older woman who doesn't even want to have kids at all, or you've had kids before in your previous marriage and you don't want any more. So you have to consider the marriage and kid issue, right? Number 2, life expectancy. I know that is like it's not a very nice thing to talk about, but it's facts. The wider your age gap, the more likelihood that one of you is going to leave this earth much sooner than the other one, right? So that's something else you have to consider. If you want a marriage where you're going to spend a long time with the person, have happiness, share life together, if you have a 20 age gap, you know what that means without me explaining it. One of you is likely to go much sooner than the other one. And then the last thing, finances. I kind of separated this from all the other life issues. I didn't lump it up with religion and politics and friends and conversation, because finances is a big issue that you guys know is responsible for the demise, right? The demise of many relationships and marriages. So you do have to figure out your financial habits, your financial implications, how you both want to manage your finances. Are you both on the same page as how you're going to divide your finances or blend it together? There's a lot to discuss with finances, and I just believe the wider your age gap, the more there is to discuss. Because if you're much younger, it's likely that you may not have a salary that is as strong as the other person. Is this going to cause a problem? Are you going to seem like you're a parasite, or you're too demanding? Or are you going to feel like you're not worthy enough in the relationship because your husband has a lot more money and you are still starting off in your career? So these are all the things you have to consider. I know some people also like marrying older men because they feel they have more money so they can enjoy their money. But really, I don't think that's a good basis just to go and look for an older guy because of his money and his wealth, because that's not all life is about. What about the sexual chemistry? What about the emotional compatibility? What about feeling comfortable around his friends? What about if you want kids or he doesn't want kids? So I really wanted to put this video together because I know there are many older women now who are in the dating field and age starts to become an issue. But rather than just looking at the absolute age number, these are the things to consider logically with your eyes open, okay, and your ears open and everything open. You have to consider these and discuss them with him. Okay, so number 1 is sexual and physical compatibility. Number 2, emotional compatibility. Then life issues like politics, friends, conversations, religion, hobbies. Then marriage and kids, right? How is that going to affect you guys if you guys have a huge age gap? Life expectancy and finances. Now, obviously, I would say an age gap of like 5 years is always ideal, right? You're 35 and your husband's 40, that's perfect, but it's not always possible. No, but life is not going to be perfect. So of course, 5 age gap is always really good. You're 5 years younger than him, but even up to 7, 8 years is fine. Like I'm 51, my husband is 58, so there's 7 years in between us. So 5 to 10 years I feel is ideal, but if once it starts to get to more than 10 years, then there starts to be more of a difference in values, in desires for life, in the way you think, in the way you're compatible. So obviously the wider the age gap, the more likelihood that you guys may be less compatible. So just keep that in mind, okay? But it's never going to be perfect 5 years. Or even it's fine to date a younger guy. I don't see anything wrong with a younger guy, but obviously 5 years for younger, definitely 5 years should be what you're looking for. So let's say you're 35. I don't think you should look for a guy younger than 30, right? Because the wider the age gap, the more incompatibility you're going to get. So I hope this video helped. Share it with whoever you think may be struggling with making a decision about appropriate age gap in dating. And remember to subscribe, remember to like, remember to comment, and turn your notifications on for my channel, because there are many more fantastic videos coming. Love you all. God bless. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.